The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Let's go ahead and play the intro. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to get right into it. Y'all, we knew it was coming. The downfall between Trump and Elon Musk. We just didn't know when, but today is the day. Actually, it started a few days ago, but let's get into it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. And yes, we are talking politics today. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me see who's in the chat. What's up, Michelle? What's up, Butterfly Kisses? What's up, Destiny? What's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, he is big mad. Yep. And you know what the funny part is? I knew that he wasn't just leaving just to leave. Like, did anybody believe that, oh yeah, I'm just leaving and we're still gonna be cool? Nobody believed that. What's up, Joy? What's up, clever girl? Nobody believed that. Like, something had to have happened. And there was a report put out that he be on that ketamine, talking about Elon Musk, he be on that ketamine. He a powderhead. And it's evident that, he probably on some shit. Rich people, according to, especially with Diddy, we know that they can get the good shit. And the good shit isn't always in their name. So we know Elon is the richest man and he can get access to all that. And there's clips and videos of him kind of like off his rocker. And, you can tell like something is wrong with Elon. But yeah, Trump was tired of that Potterhead and was all like, oh, you got to go, Potterhead. And so that's what happened. And let me tell you, did you think that Elon winning Trump this election, he was just going to go quietly? No, of course he wasn't going to go quietly. So let's start out with this tweet. So Elon, he had put this out. He said, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Ooh. Tell us more, Elon, because remember, people were crazy for saying, like, it just didn't seem right. What happened with this election? Like, it just didn't feel right in people's spirits. And no one paid attention to Elon, how much money he was pumping. He gave over $235 million to Trump's campaign. You don't give that kind of money without having some kind of power and influence. You are out your mind thinking that Elon was going to have no power and influence over this administration. I mean, yeah, we knew about DOGE. Some people play dumb like they didn't know about DOGE, but no, we knew about DOGE. We just didn't know how bad it was going to be. 235 million I put in your campaign. I own you. And that's what Elon is basically saying with this tweet. Bitch, I own you. Without me, the Dems would have won back the House and the Republicans would have had a 51-49. Currently, they have a 53. I think they have a 53 majority, I believe. Don't quote me. So Elon continues. He said, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. And remember, there was a report. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene confirmed herself. She was all like, I didn't read the bill. So Marjorie, Neanderthal looking, bad butch, what Jasmine Crockett said, bad butch built blonde beach body. She voted for a bill that she did not read. These are the people we have in our Congress, you guys. This is why it's important to know who you're voting for. You need to vote for somebody who actually reads. So Elon continues, call your senator, call your congressman. Bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. There was another thing where he posted the movie poster for Kill Bill too. Kill the Bill. Leopard ate my... Exactly. The leopards are eating. They ate your face. Right. They did say he was the real president. Exactly. What's up, Beauty for Ashes? Right. Peg Bundy. That's the problem. All of us have to experience it. That's the part that sucks. We can't even say, ah, ha, ha, that's what you get. Because at the end of the day, all of us feel it. So the next tweet right here, basically he was making fun of Trump because it said, I have a plan to cut the spending. And then the note that says increase spending. And Elon retweeted this. Also, the next post, because what they've been claiming is that Elon is upset with the EV tax credit, the electric vehicle tax credit. They're saying that he's upset with that. But Elon was all like, no, I never was okay with the tax credit. He didn't want one. He didn't want a tax credit for electric vehicles. Now, I wonder how people who have a Tesla feel about that. But that's also in the big, beautiful bill. They cut that out. So Elon continues. He says, is it time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle? And you know what the crazy part is? I've been hearing about all these revolutions. Everybody been talking about creating a third party. Now Elon, who has the money to fund a third party, is talking about creating a third party. Now, I would never be a part of a party that's controlled by a racist immigrant who literally has screwed over millions of Americans. Fuck Elon Musk. We just celebrating that they're fighting. That's really what it is. Fuck Elon. We're just happy that you're fighting. Right. He's claiming that he never saw the bill. He didn't know anything about it. He never saw the bill. But they've been talking about this bill the whole time. Here's the thing, you guys. The only part that he cared about was the tax cuts for the rich. Oh, let me turn back on my camera. The tax cuts for the rich. He didn't care about the Medicare because they're claiming that they're not cutting Medicare at all. They're not cutting Medicare and they're not cutting SNAP benefits and all the government programs. That's a lie. They are. The way they spin it, you guys, is that no, we're just cutting out the fraud. Then when you ask, what's the fraud? They go, oh, we're cutting out the people who've been on government assistance for 300 years. The 300 people. Remember, they were claiming that somebody was on welfare and they were 300 years old or whatever. That's all a lie, by the way, you guys. And on top of that, they say, oh, all the illegals, the illegals, you know, the undocumented people are all taking the Medicare SNAP benefit. No, they don't get those benefits. They don't get them. So again, that's where the fraud was allegedly supposed to come from. But you would think if you're in DOGE and it's to cut the fraud and the waste, then prove it. They actually, you know how they were claiming that they cut out all these billions of dollars? I think it was like over 500 billion. Well, the actual number is, hold on, let me see. Number DOGE has cut. I know it's 100 billion or something like that. But all those trillions that they're supposed to cut, because the plan was to cut 4 trillion to pay for the big, beautiful bill, right? Yeah, where'd the trillion go? Okay, so it said DOGE Department of Government Efficiency claimed to have saved 65 billion, but actual savings are estimated to be closer to 2.3 billion. This discrepancy arises from a variety of factors, including overstatements in the contract cancellations, misleading inclusions. Listen, y'all. Listen. Misleading inclusions procurement methods and errors in calculating the savings. So I was even off on the number. They're claiming to have cut 65 billion, but it's only really been 2.3 billion that they cut. Wow. Is Barbara? Yeah, where is Miss Barbara? Miss Barbara, get your ass up in here. Also, Elon was under several investigations why DOGE shut down certain agencies to stop. Exactly. They were looking into him. And let's be honest, the reason why Elon had so much support from Trump is because if you look back in 2022, they had shut down all his subsidies that he was supposed to get for the Starlink and all that. All those government contracts, they had shut them down. This is why he wanted to create DOGE, so he can cut out whatever. And basically, he wanted to fuck America. You guys cut all my government programming. Well, I'm gonna get back in there, get all my government funding. Why did we pay him $400 million for Cybertrucks? That was one of his contracts that he got while he was in DOGE. The $400 million for Cybertrucks. Who the what? Them ugly ass Cybertrucks. Y'all seen them ugly ass Cybertrucks? What's up, son? Yeah. What we haven't talked is it. I know it's in Tennessee, you guys, but have y'all heard like basically Elon is building something, it's creating pollution, and it's going to hurt a lot of black people in Memphis? I believe it was Memphis. Mind you, like those power plants and stuff like that, they only build it in rural areas and in the hoods. They don't build it in Beverly Hills. They don't pollute their areas, but all the areas with the poor people, they pollute those. Don't forget that. You know? What's up, everybody? Come in the room. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You know? It's a data mining situation. What's up, Ray? But Black Americans still worried about the wrong thing. I agree. Oh, your full statement, Melissa. Are you black? Melissa, you know the avatars. They be claiming to be black. Don't be in here blackfishing with your racist ass. Don't be trusting that these avatars are black, y'all. All these avatars are. Melissa, you lying. Your name is motherfucking Melissa. I know you ain't black. Also here in Texas, yeah. He's screwing over Texas as well, too. And he moved all his litigation over to Texas. Don't forget that. Yes, there has been a big fight. The state, I can read it here. The state rep for Tennessee, a young black man, has been fighting for the people. Thank you for letting me know. And shout out to you learning to love myself. Thank you. Melissa, if you are black, I apologize. But if you not black, it's F you. I just want to let you know, just in case, you know. And there's another one in the Mayo neighborhood too. He's equal opportunity racist. Yeah. Just like I know the whole speaking of that, the whole white genocide in South Africa, we all know that came from Elon. And again, Elon was upset because they don't want Starlink over there in South Africa. And the reason why they don't want it and we need to follow the model of South Africa for reparations, because they have a thing where the business needs to be like either, I believe it's 80% black employed or 80% owned by black people. I have to look it up. Hold on. Why doesn't South Africa want Starlink? Starlink's entry into South African market is facing hurdles due to the country's Black Economic Empowerment laws. It's called B-BBEE. That's what we need over here. Which require foreign companies to allocate at least 30% of their local equity to historically disadvantaged groups, primarily the majority of black population. Oh, it's 30%. Majority black population. While Starlink operates in many African countries, South Africa BBEE regulations have presented a challenge. So this is the real reason, you guys, why Elon is mad at South Africa and creating all this, because he wants, basically, they're all like, hey, 30% needs to be allocated to these black people. Which, if you know the history of South Africa, mind you, apartheid ended in the 90s, you guys. We were alive during this time. Now, I was a baby, but we was, shout out to all the old heads out there, but we were alive during apartheid, you guys. Yeah, and the white people, they own 85% of the land. Yeah. Melissa, I think it's 87%. Oh, you might be black, Melissa. Yeah, they own like 80% of the land, and they're only 10% of the population. If you look at the population of South Africa, the white people are only 10%, but they own 87%. We'll say 85, 87. They own the majority of it. So it's funny because you don't hear about these things, and you're thinking like there's a white, and of course the people that follow Trump and them, they're not looking at the facts. They're literally just going by whatever Trump says, and they're like, oh my God, it's a white genocide going on. Because white people want to be oppressed so bad. Melissa and her people, they want to be oppressed so bad. So let's get into Trump's response. They asked him about Elon, and you can tell that he really wants to go off, but he got to play it cool, because Elon got all the listen. Elon gonna slip up and say something about that election. I'm telling you, it's coming, y'all.
And I'm sure you've seen regarding Elon Musk and your big, beautiful bill. What's your reaction to that? Do you think it in any way hurts passage in the Senate, which is, of course, what is you're seeking?
Well, look, I've always liked Elon, and it's always very surprised. You saw the words he had for me, and he hasn't said anything about me that's bad. I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. It's the biggest cut in the history of our country. We've never cut. It's about 1.6 trillion in cuts. It's the biggest tax cut. You would say, people's taxes will go way down, but it's the biggest tax cut in history. It's we are doing things in that bill that are unbelievable. And when you look at what we're doing for small businesses, for people, for middle-income people,
So here's the thing with the big, beautiful bill, right? And some people don't realize why their taxes increase, especially if, like for me, I live in California. If you live in a high tax state, your taxes went up when that first initial tax cut, because they cut out so many different things that actually help people, where you can write stuff off on your taxes. They're going to do that again, where you can't write shit off on your taxes. And the high states, we're going to be hurting. What's up, Ariel? We're going to be hurting again. And also in this bill, the way they have it, that the poor and the middle class will basically be suffering as the years go on, about 2026, 2028. So basically, when the next elections happen, 2026, 2028, that's when you'll see the effects. And so then the Democrats, who are horrible at messaging, oh no, we still can drag the Democrats. The reason why I haven't been dragging the Democrats is because literally they're not in power, you guys. But no, we can still drag them. Democrats don't have their messaging together. They don't at all. So they're going to struggle to try to explain why things have gone up. That's simple as that. But again, the effects of this bill you won't see until 2026, 2028. So next year, and then of course during the election season. Yeah. And you know what the sad part is? No matter the party, the poor and the middle class always get hurt. No matter. But this definitely is a direct shot at the poor and the middle class. It's a direct shot. And if you study trickle-down economics, because it all started with Reagan. We got any white people in here? White people, they love them some Reagan, but Reagan was a motherfucker. I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody had to say it. Reagan was a horrible fucking person. So Reagan created this whole trickle down economics, right? This whole trickle down economics where you give tax cuts to the rich and then they'll create more jobs and more opportunities for poor people. They'll give more money. No, no, it's a lie. It's a lie. That never happens. No. Anyway, let's continue.
All of the things that we're doing, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning. Mr. Secretary, that hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, he recommended somebody from that he, I guess, knew very well. I'm sure he respected him, but to run that.
Mind you, I already showed you the tweet where Elon said he was against the EV credit. So the electrical vehicle credit, he didn't care about that. He was against it to begin with.
NASA, and I didn't think it was appropriate. And he happened to be a Democrat, like totally Democrat. And I say, look, we won. We get certain privileges, and one of the privileges, we don't have to appoint a Democrat. NASA is very important. We have great people. General Kane is going to be picking somebody with our. We'll be checking him out, seeing. But he wanted that person, a certain person, and we said no. And I can understand why he's upset. Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, "You want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so."
Yo, you can't lie. Sometimes Trump be having those one-liners. Let me rewind that back. He said, "You want a little makeup? You want a little makeup?" Yo, because he did have that black eye. Now, someone said he got punched in his eye, or it was from his powder binge because Elon the powderhead.
I said, "You want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk, and even with the black eye." I said, "You want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is, so you could make that statement too, I guess. Look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. I was surprised because you were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things.
Yo, I just thought about that. He probably didn't want to look orange because they didn't have his right color. That's probably why he was like, "I don't want to look orange like you." But he has a point. Elon seemed very happy, and now Elon, what was the change? Because they've been talking about this beautiful bill for the longest time when Elon was there. Because Elon just left last Friday, right? It was last Friday they did this whole announcement that he was leaving or whatnot. So I don't believe that Elon did not know about the bill. I think that Elon just heard tax cuts and that's it.
He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill. We call it a great, big, beautiful bill because that's what it is. And again, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest economic development moves anywhere. We've never done anything like it. Business is spurred. And I don't know if you've seen the numbers, but the numbers came out. Even the CBO, which is run by Democrats, said that we're going to be doing, I'd like you to discuss it, the 2.8 trillion, that CBO. This is a group of people that are Democrats. They're very hostile to us. They just came out with phenomenal numbers, what it does. You want to mention that, Scott?
Yes, sir. So what we've seen is we keep hearing from the CBO that there's going to be a large deficit from the bill, which we disagree with, but using the CBO scoring, they came out and scored the tariff revenue. We think it'll be the minimum of $2.8 trillion over the 10-year window, which actually puts the bill in surplus if you include the tariff revenue, which they won't do.
It gives you a tremendous.
So this is why they won't include the tariff revenue, because tariff is a tax. And so at the same token, this is something that's being paid out by the consumer. This is being paid out from me and you. So this is like an additional charge. This isn't revenue technically coming into that. This is literally hurting us. And that's the thing that people don't realize about the whole tariff thing. Because again, Republicans are phenomenal at messaging. People actually believe that the country or the business is the one paying the tariff. They don't realize, like, hey, if I've been buying these shirts from China and they $20, now because the tariff they're $50, I'll just still charge people $20. Oh no, you getting charged that $30. Yeah, you're getting charged that difference and a little bit more because I need to make a profit off of these shirts.
Tremendous surplus, but we're not allowed to use that. For some reason, they say scoring. Nobody knows what scoring means. Maybe a couple of people, but nobody. Somebody sits in the background. They say, well, we're not going to allow that. They're not allowing other things that we have that are tremendously profitable for our country. But if you saw the other day, CNBC, they came out with numbers, and the people on the show, very good people, I've watched them for a long time, they couldn't believe the numbers, how good they are. The numbers were incredible. And that was personal income and also very low inflation. We have very low inflation. We're down to 2% now, and maybe even lower than
So it went from 2.4 to 2.3.
that. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Remember, we had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say I think it's worse than that. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country under the Biden administration. Now we're down to a beautiful number, 2%. You'd actually like to keep it there. Better than zero is 2%. It's going down maybe to 1%, and 1% is like perfect. That's perfect. You don't want to have zero for certain reasons that nobody is very interested to listen to. But we have almost perfect inflation. Grocery prices are down. Everything. Remember eggs? We weren't going to buy another egg for the next 20 years. They were so expensive, right? Remember? You guys all hit
20 years. This man is so full of shit. So I was going to say something. It was reported that the grocery prices did go down statistically, but put a 1 in the chat if, like, the eggs have gone down. Like, I have noticed that the price of eggs gone down. But put a 1 in the chat if meat and shit like that is still expensive. Because meat is still expensive. Put a 1 if meat is still expensive for you guys. Meat has not gone. Like, when he's talking about, the grocery prices went down, because I had to look it up, y'all. I was all like, what? Price of eggs have gone down, but meat and stuff, it's still, okay, thank you. I was all like, hold on now. Yeah. Eggs are still expensive. Yeah. At least here in California, eggs have slightly went down. I forgot how much the last time. It went slightly down. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of the next time I go to the grocery store and show you how much eggs are. But they have gone slightly down. Eggs went from 20 to 19.99. Yeah. But as far as, grocery, like meat and shit like that shit is still expensive. Like, it is not, no. Here in Dallas, Texas, a dozen of eggs are $5.99. Okay. In Tennessee, they're 11. Okay, well, hey, the price of eggs, they're still high. Yeah. But I was all like, overall, grocery prices are still hella high. I was all like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Hit me about eggs. Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again. But if you look at gasoline, very important. I think always the most important because it's the energy is the biggest factor. That's what happened. He screwed up our energy policy, and everything went up because energy went up. But now energy is way down, and they have states where you're at $1.98 a gallon for gasoline. So the costs have come way down.
So Trump does what he does. I just looked it up. It has not gone down 400%. First of all, I knew that. Like, you know how like like it's a lie. But again, like his supporters, they'll just believe anything. It has not gone down 400%. No. Now there has been a decrease in the average between May 15th, 2024 to May 15th, 2025. Prices decreased in every state, with the smallest drop in Colorado, 4.2%, and the largest in New Hampshire, 18%. Let's see. What's the average? So last year, the average price of gas in 2024 was $3.30. Now it's at $3.19. So basically, the small little decreases, he's taking those numbers and inflating them to something that they're not. You guys, I just want to clarify that because gas is still, at least here, the cheapest that I could get is like $4.65 a gallon.
Down.
And I live in the Bay Area.
One of the things I ran on was that I ran on the border. We have the best border in the history of our country, 99.99%. It was last week, 3 people came in, 2 of them for medical reasons. We let them in because one of them had a heart attack. I think it was a nice thing to do, and one of them had something else. So we've never had, I had very good numbers for 4 years, but we really topped it. And I want to thank Christy and Tom Holman. They've done a fantastic job, but nobody mentions that anymore. Remember, a few months.
And and that's the thing that I can stop him talking because all he gonna do is inflate the numbers and shit like that. But the other countries, you know how like here in America we're suffering, like the other countries are suffering too because of these games that this man is playing. Like it already been hit with COVID, and then you got him playing these tariff games and shit like that. It has really hurt a lot of people. Gas has increased where you are. Tell it, Elon. Right. He letting it be known it was me that won you this election. Okay, so let's start out with a few things. So put a 1 in the chat if gas has increased for you. Put a 2 if it has decreased. 1 increase, 2 decrease for gas. Okay, we got 1, 2. Karma, don't tell us where you live if you want to be safe. What coast do you live on? Tell us what coast you live, and then we'll be able to figure it out. Hasn't changed. Okay, everybody put a 1. Yeah, I haven't really seen. Yeah, no. Listen, until $20 fill up my tank, that's when I'll know whether or not. Okay. Put 1 in the chat if grocery prices have increased for you. Put a 2 in the chat if they decrease. Put a 1 increase. Put a 2 decrease. So I switched it a little bit. So 1 is increase, 2 is decrease for grocery prices. Hey, Kayla. Okay, and thank you for that, Karma. Okay, everybody put increase. Yeah. All right, next question. Has rent increased for you or decreased? 1 for increase, 2 for decrease. Has rent increase or decrease for you? Yep. The people have spoken, so everything has increased. What's up, Couture Babe? Yeah, everything has increased. So yeah, we're not seeing any of these effects. But we'll see what happens. Summer has just started. Y'all, it feels like this man has been in office already for the 4 years. We're literally only going on month 6. That's the crazy part. But please, you guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm getting back into my political bag, so there will be more videos. I know I kind of took a break just because, like, it was really heavy and depressing. That's why I took a break from it. So I'm back in my political bag, so there will be more videos like this. So I appreciate every single one of y'all for being here. But we out, y'all. Deuces.